First, I want to say that the amendments contained under the Tax Laws Amendments Act was initiated through a directive by the President to provide for a cushion of Kenyans arising from the loss of business activity and slowdown in the income of Kenyans because of the COVID-19 disease. So at that time, the President directed amendments to the VAT and Income Tax Acts. So the reduction of the rate for VAT from 16 to 14% was effected almost immediately because the CS used powers conferred under the VAT Act, which allows him to vary the rate by up to 25%, up or downward. So those powers were used to vary the rate from 16 to 14% and became effective immediately. The only condition the law provided for is that the CS has to present, to submit those amendments for approval to Parliament within 21 days, which was also done and approved. So VAT, the amendments for VAT became effective on the 1st of March 2020. For the proposals contained in the Income Tax Act, they had to be processed through proposals for amendments to Parliament, which were done, and they were signed into law by the President on the 25th of April 2020, and that's when they became effective. Became effective on the date of assent. First of all, for the Income Tax Act, there were basically two major amendments in relation to the payroll. The highest rate of tax on the payroll was 30%. That was reduced to 25%. Now, also, the lowest tax that was subject to taxation was about 14,000 shillings. So what the amendment did was to increase the amount that is not subject to tax from 14,000 per month to 24,000 per month, because it gave a relief of 2,400 per month. So that relief translates to about an income of 24,000 per month, not attracting taxation. So this law became effective on the 25th of April 2020. The impact of this is that the payroll for the month of April is supposed to be computed based on the new rate of tax. So that means then that Kenyans will have more to take home this month than before. If a company, for purposes of payment of taxes, there are basically two options available to employers. The first one is that they can revise, because the filing period has not yet, is not yet due, because they are supposed to be filing from the 1st of May to the 9th of May for the payroll of April. So what is available to them are two options. The first option is they can actually revise the pay and recompute and give additional money to their employees and file correctly. But in the event that they are not going to do that, they have another option where they will readjust. They will consider this as an overpayment. Then in the next month, they can actually readjust the payroll, and so that they can recover what has been overpaid this month. yes, it may be true that the president was trying to respond to the challenges that Kenyans have been facing because of COVID-19. However, as they sit in the law books, they are sitting there as approved and enacted law, and it will then be up to the policymakers to revise. Otherwise, as it stands now, there is no provision in law that makes them temporary. So the laws have not been provided, the time limit has not been provided. So as far as KRA is concerned, there are laws that are supposed to be implemented until they are again changed to something else. Yes, usually we've been having one tax rate running through the whole tax period. So PAYE or payrolls, we expect the employee to make one return at the end of the year. So this year it will be unique because for the first 3 months it's a different rate, and the last 9 months the rate will also be different. So it then means that when we are filing the returns for this year, next year, between the 1st of January to 30th of June, then we will have to take into consideration the 2 tax periods in the return. So yes, it will affect the return for 2020, filed in 2021. I want to tell Kenyans, especially employers, employees and investors, that the authority is ready to implement these new changes in the best way possible, and we have put into place mechanisms and processes to ensure that these new laws are understood by the employees, employers, and the manufacturers who have been impacted by the various changes that have been introduced. And we are available for any consultations, especially in the interpretation of the same.